Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good, and you?
It's very nice to meet you. I'm sure we've crossed paths, but it's nice to sit down and have a conversation. Please introduce yourself and let's get rolling.
Okay, my name is Gaby Barzuna. I'm a singer. I've been a yoga teacher for 10 years, same length as I've been a musician or doing it professionally. I studied communication, so I've been working a lot in that, coordination of projects, retreats, and I'm soon to launch my first song, which I'm very excited about.
That's pretty cool. So you got into music, into yoga about the same time. And then how long have you been in Nosara?
I've been in Nosara for 7 years. I came here in Halloween of 2016, actually.
Where'd you come from?
From San Jose.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I grew up there. It was a very, I don't have to explain anyone, but it's a very different lifestyle. In San Jose, I felt like I had all these passions and people were constantly like trying to put me into a box, like, yeah, but you have to choose something. What's your north? What's your north? And I was like, well, but I like to do everything, you know? I like to sing, I like to teach yoga, I like to do marketing, storytelling, write, etc. And people were like, yeah, we don't know where to place you. And then when I got here in Nosara and I saw that everybody was like this, I felt heard, you know, I felt understood, like, oh, there's a place for people like me. And then that's what kept me here for such a long time, you know?
Nosara's not for everyone. For some people, it just is not right at all. And then for some people, when it is right, though, it's sticky. Like they want it. Like people are willing to travel all this way, pay all these prices, deal with all these chaotic problems, from everything from dust to electricity to roads to water to you name it. Nosara has a lot of challenges. So explain how you made it here and fast forward us into today.
It's funny because like if you look back, like you see how Nosara tests you. Like you see people who just got here and then these horrible things happen to them and then they get like these weird diseases, accidents, cockroach in your ear, like things that you're like, oh my God. And then you think that it's, yeah, like these things can happen. But when after years, you start seeing that it happens more to people who just arrived, you know? When I first got here, it was crazy. I was in a house. Well, I've had many houses, of course, here, like moved so many times. But one of them was so damp that I got sick like for 3 months. And then eventually I thought that I had like some mold in my lungs. And my friends were like, coming to me like, are you okay? And then I was just laying down like for 3 months. And then they did like an intervention and they were like, Gaby, you're not noticing, but you have to leave this house. Like this house, I got it in the high season, you know, like in the dry season. And then in the rainy season, it got so damp. Like I would leave a bikini and it would get green. And I wasn't noticing. I loved the house because it was beautiful. And then people had to, like my people who care for me had to come here and do an intervention for me so that I would leave because all my clothes, all my things were moldy and then I couldn't see it anymore. And then these are things that just happen that you just have to go through, or, you know, a snake in your bathtub, things like this that test you, and then either you toughen up or you have to leave. So that's my experience.
Yeah, pretty well said. So how'd you make it financially? Because Nosara is not cheap. Like Nosara is expensive. Like it's hard to get by. And I'm admitting that. Like I'm in, for my day job and what I do for my living, it's hard. People think everyone here has money and it's easy to think that because it's expensive. But the reality is many of us are fighting like to make it and get by. So do you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah, of course. Well, hustling, you know, the answer is multiple sources of income and hustling a lot. And during the high season, you know, so as I mentioned, I do different things. So I was doing everything. I would wake up teach a yoga class, then go to, I don't know, the store that I would manage, or to the retreat center that I would manage, and then I would get home, rehearse, and then I would have a gig at night, and I would play somewhere in a restaurant or something like that. And I was doing everything all the time, and then you get into a rush, like the high season, and then you just don't stop. You're just making money as much as you can, so that then in, I don't know, August, you can relax and travel. Yeah.
Where do you like to go when you get away from here?
To a place that I haven't been before, you know? Nosara can get a little bit like a bubble sometimes. I think it's very important and very healthy to go away every once in a while and remember that there is a world outside of here, that there are other realities, because this is a very privileged bubble, and then you can forget that there are other things happening outside. So I try to go to places that I haven't been before. Also, like I go to San Jose, see my family, check on them. Inside the country, like go south, go to the Caribbean. And then, the last years I've had the opportunity to travel to Thailand and Africa and places that really blew my mind.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I've never even been to Pavones or the Caribbean.
No.
No. I'm kind of a Nosara person. Like, I did the opposite of what your advice is. When I first came here, I didn't leave for years and years, but that was a mistake.
Yeah.
I stayed here too long without leaving, and I got lost in the inside of it. And in my mind, I think it kind of messed me up because Nosara became kind of like high school to me. Very gossipy and very yammering, and it's still that way today. It's like a big high school, and I hated high school. I absolutely hated high school, and that's what I hate about Nosara today. But that being said, I'm willing to deal with the pain of Nosara more so than the pain of other places. So I'm willing to do it. It still makes it. My only worry about Nosara is how am I going to afford it here in 10 years? Like how am I going to stay? So a lot of people are like, oh, well, you're just going to leave and go somewhere else. It's like, it's not my choice. Like, if that's how that goes down, like, I want to be here, but at the same time, Nosara's tough, and it's bigger than me. So how are you going to make it here?
I feel like Nosara always calls you back, you know? I'm over it already, and then I keep coming back, you know? It's not how I'm going to keep coming here. It's how it's going to keep me coming here. Because it's like a living being. It's like a person, you know? It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's so weird that we sound crazy with what we're saying right now. Like someone listening to this is like, idiots. Like,
you want to know something funny?
Always.
Well, I wasn't going to say this yet, but I actually have an upcoming song later, eventually. And it's called Psycho Paradise. Guess what it's about?
I might know. You want to hear something that might make your funny thing even a little funnier?
Yeah.
I was just sitting in the water, and I've been writing a song in my mind about Nosara.
Yeah?
And that name is actually phenomenal that you have, Psycho Paradise. It's absolutely perfect. I'm kind of trying to work from the point of gratitude. Nosara is like a fountain of gratitude and opportunity in relationships, but at the same time, sometimes the people are mean, some are condescending, and like kind of like it goes into like a.
And the metaphor that you said about the high school, I've used it so many times, exactly like that. I always tell people, yeah, Nosara, it's like I didn't want to say it, but so I was like, yeah, Nosara is like a high school. It just becomes like a high school, and then you have to go out of here to remember that you're not in high school. You know that everything that happens here, it's not that important. It's not, because it gets you. At some point, you're like, oh, this happened and this, and then the way I believe the way that I have been the happiest here is like the least I know about people's lives in the way in a gossip approach, you know, because of course I'm interested in how you did surfing, etc. But the least I hear gossip, the happier I am. You know, I don't want to get into people's business. I don't want to know if they did something sketchy, or I don't want to know. I want to like them because it's high school and I have to see them every day. You know.
I do know what you're saying. So give me some advice on that. Because for me, intention is everything. So I don't care what your job is. I don't care what people say about you. I don't care about any of the gossip. I don't. I just want to know, what did someone mean? So how do you deal with that?
Well, in terms of relating to people, I think it's all about intuition. You know, for me, you learn how to filter, or I've learned how to filter quickly.
Yeah, I want to know that. Coach me on how you filter.
Energy. I don't know. I just I kind of like everybody. You know, I am on a basic level. There are not many people that I dislike, and I really stay out of people's business, and I stay out of trouble. I'm very like in my world. I'm always in my own world and doing like my thing, and I don't get into people's business.
How do you stay in your own world and make a living here? If you have to make a living in Nosara for survival, that's very different than everyone just rolling around having a happy time, like chasing their happy times.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I'm meeting somebody who is fighting to make it. You've worked in resorts, or retreats. You've worked in clothing shops. You've been hustling for all this time. So I'm really interested to see how you stay happy and sane, having to make your money from here, because that's the challenging part.
I believe a lot in serendipity, like the people that you meet and that you connect with, and then eventually that's an opportunity for a job. You know, like if you have a good connection, then you have good interactions in general. You enjoy your job, whatever you do. You enjoy the sales that you make. You know, for example, when I was working at the store, I managed a store for a while, and then it was so fun. I've always been doing like what I feel happy with, regardless of the money. Even because of the multiple sources of income. So even if I need the money, I've been always choosing like how much I want to do of each thing. So every season it has changed, like how many yoga classes I'm teaching, how much time I want to spend in the store, how much I want to share in terms of music, how many gigs I want to do, you know? So I filter that. And then the store experience was so interesting, because you're making sales, but at the end of the day, I wasn't trying to. I was there, and then crazy, interesting, fun, amazing characters come in all the time from all walks of life, all parts of the world, and then you just host them. And then you're just like asking them what they're doing, what they like, where they're saying, a conversation begins. And then it got to a moment where as soon as the person would come through the door, I knew what dresses she would like, what dresses would make her happy. And then I was like, "You're an artist, right?" And she's like, "Yeah, how do you know?" And I'm like, "I see you. I see how you walk. I see how you express yourself." Or, you know, I would know who is an influencer, who is a digital nomad artist, you name it. And then this developed a lot my intuition with people. And then they would just end up being like, "Oh, tell me what's your favorite dress here?" And I'm like, "I think this would be amazing on you, you know?" And then they're like, "Oh, yeah, I love it. I'm so happy with this. Thank you," know? And then it doesn't come to it's just like serendipity and energy and connection and being there, showing up for the thing that you are happy doing. At some point, you know, I studied communication and advertising, marketing. And then at some point, my family, who are still in San Jose, and they have this mindset. They're like, what are you doing in a clothing store? What does this have to do with your career? And I'm like, I don't know, but it's the only thing right now that I wake up every day and I've never been like, oh, this is so boring, you know? And I've done a little bit of everything, mix and match. Like, that's how I don't get bored. Like, whenever I am, like done with something or feel that I'm stuck, I do something else. Okay, let's teach more yoga. Let's manage a retreat center. Let's work with music retreats. And then opportunities show up and I just follow my intuition to take them. And I think that's how it has all happened for me.
All right, so I'm gonna try to say it back to you in a very short segment.
Uh-huh.
Your anchor is you do stuff that you like, that you're happy with, that you enjoy.
Yeah.
You'll do whatever you have to along the way to fill in the cracks, but your anchor is doing stuff that you like. And inside of that, the relationships that Nosara brings you is opening future doors, and that's how your cycle is spinning. Is that it?
And also something very positive and interesting about Nosara is that, land of serendipity. You wake up by yourself, no plans, and you end the night like in a table full of super interesting people that you've never seen before, and the guy next to you happens to be the founder of a massive important company, and then you make this amazing connection with that person and you didn't even know who he was, and he's like, hit me up with, these things happen all the time. Surfing in the grill, with you just have to be yourself and treat people like, I think that's what people like about here, like especially celebrities, that here they're like just a human. They're just a person, and then they're treated that way. I think that's important.
I know exactly what you're saying.
And opportunities here, this is a hub for opportunities, whatever you want to do, like you name it.
Let's bounce into music for a little bit if we can.
Yeah.
You have a bunch going on. You've already been playing for a long time. You've been rolling around town already out there. You're about to launch a song, and I want to hear about it. Can you give us a quick backstory of your music, your styling, so somebody who doesn't know you is hearing this for the first time? Give them a quick background of yourself, but then get us to today and what's about to happen.
I've been singing my whole life. Basically, ever since I learned how to talk, I began singing.
Okay, so it's in you.
It has always been there. And whistling, that's very specific about me. I whistle all the time.
Still?
Yeah. And I have that's my most, what would you say, underrated, yeah.
Hey, I wrote a song that has a whistling solo. Yeah. Maybe you could come in for that.
Psycho Paradise has a whistling solo. But yeah, whenever you want a whistling solo, I'm the person to do that. It's my it's the thing. Many people can sing, but I don't know anyone who can whistle like me. It's crazy.
What do your parents and family and friends think about that?
Well, my high school teachers hated it. They would always be like, who's whistling? And then I was like, I didn't even notice I was whistling, And people are like, in the supermarket, and people are like, that's weird, Like, nobody's whistling. It's just me. But it's something that I've always been doing. I can't stop it. It just happens. So I grew up singing and whistling. And let's see. Yeah, I started doing it professionally when I was 19, something like that. I got into a rock band. It was a rock band in San Jose, 4 guys and me, like drums, violin, guitar, and bass. It was alternative, progressive rock in Spanish, and it was all original songs. And it was a lot of fun, a lot of work. Like we would rehearse every Saturday from 2 p.m. until 11 p.m. and then we would go out partying in the little bars. And
what was the name of that band?
Mandala.
Okay.
I don't know if people remember it, but yeah, there was a male lead singer before me. So yeah, and then
Well, he had to get out because he can't whistle.
well, I never whistled for that band, but it would have been
If you had a
fun.
violin, you could squeeze in a whistle.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, keep going. Fast forward us to
Okay,
today.
and then that was how I began, like how I began singing professionally. And then the band split up, and I started singing covers in places with my then boyfriend. He would play the guitar and I would sing, and we would go to beautiful places. And then we broke up, so I had to figure out a way to do it by myself, because I play some guitar enough like to make a song, to figure out the chords of a song that I'm writing, but I don't play it good enough to
You're a vocalist.
to perform. Yeah, and I feel like I'm sacrificing the quality of the vocals when I'm trying to play guitar and sing. I don't do well with both things at the same time. So always when I'm performing, I have a guitar player or I sing by myself with tracks. So I figured out like set with tracks, chill out and effects, and just me, the tracks, and like, yeah, bossa nova style and chill out, basically that. And then that's what I've been doing for the last 7 years here in Nosara, because it's a tourist town. So people go to a place, it's dinner music, they want to listen to songs they know. I would sing, Sublime and reggae, rock, Natty Star, the Fleetwood Mac. I have an old, very old music taste. That's what I like. So that's what I would sing. And then the point of inflection comes last year when I was like, you know what? I won't sing any more cover gigs until I put my own music out there.
Okay.
I said I'll stop. I won't accept any more gigs to sing other people's music until my own music is out there. Just to like a fasting, like putting myself a boundary. Like if you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And then I think that actually helped, because then all this energy that I was putting into rehearsals and show time, I focused on writing songs, recording at home, everything else. And then that's how it started, like building momentum in terms of my original music. But because I've been writing songs my whole life, like ever since I was 10, I was writing songs, and then it's until now that I'm sharing them with the world.
What got you to this point where you're like, okay, I need to launch something. I'm not doing any more covers, which is funny because I don't play covers very, very seldom.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just started to, and just last night I played like 4 or 5. And here's the bad news. The reaction to the cover songs was way better than my original stuff. And I was like, that's nowhere near as good. My stuff's better than this. Mine's more interesting. It's new, it's fresh. Like I actually did that. I made it. Like my part of me's in there and no one cared. But if I played something they recognized, I'd play a Jack Johnson song or something, then people clap. And it's like, I started asking people and they're like, they want to hear what they know. It's exactly what you said. And that's always bothered me. So it's interesting to hear your setup. And then now I have even more respect because I'm having more traction with cover songs than my own stuff. So I'm kind of going the opposite of you. Now I'm starting to play some covers so at least people can have a good time. And you hunkered down with my original idea of no covers. Mm-hmm. You actually did it and cut yourself off from performing. So it's pretty cool. Like this is an interesting story to me. But so I'd like to know, when did you know that needed to happen? And you were like, hold on, I've got to release something. All brakes are on, emergency brake pulled. Get to work on this original song. Like, when did you feel that and you knew it?
The song that I'm about to launch is Aldeas en Aire, that's the name. The first time that the chorus of this song came to my mind, I was a teenager. I didn't know what it meant. The chorus says, desciendo para no caer, que he visto aldeas en el aire. And then I was like, what? I didn't know what it meant with the melody. And then it was always in my head until 2018, I sat down, I started trying to figure out the chords for it. I recorded it with my with my cell phone, sorry. And then, I found some chords. 2 years more in the pandemic, 2020, I decided to, because I had the time to sit down, because of the hustle that I've been mentioning, that I've always been doing this and this and this and this. In the pandemic, I had the time to sit down and finish the song. And then the verse came to me and I was like, oh, that's what the song is about. And then I finished what I wanted to say and I was like, okay, this song is written. I had no idea on how to record it or anything. The world was paralyzed, etc. Until year later, maybe 2021, I meet Ivana. I think you've met her. She's the author, the producer of the book Nature of Surf Women. I was collaborating with the book. I was doing photo shoots. And then Ivana got very intrigued by the fact that I was a singer, and we all have all the models. We have like a QR code in the book with an interview, and she suggested that I recorded a song as well as the interview. And I was like, well, I don't have any songs. Do I have any finished song? And she was like, Gaby, finish it. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And then I called Patrick Cook to see if he could help us record it. And then that's how it happened. I saw how fun and easy it was to record that song. I had recorded before jingles. I was hired to record jingles and music for TV and radio, but never my own song. And then I saw how it was possible, and I liked it a lot, the experience. And then I think that was the point when I heard the song, and I was like, okay, let's make this song a record, because there is a difference between a demo and a record. And then I was like, yeah, I'd like to do this. I think that was the moment when I was like, let's start backing up in the gigs, the cover gigs, and let's put my energy in finishing the song and sharing it with the world. So I always say Aldeas en el Aire. I have more songs to come, but Aldeas en el Aire, it's special for me. It's like a baby. For me, it's like giving birth, because it has been growing up with me since I was a teenager. It has evolved. It has claimed its own life. It has found opportunities for itself. And I feel like it's going to open the pathway for all my upcoming music.
So this song's sort of like Nosara is in your life.
Yeah, like a breakthrough song,
That feeds other opportunities and keeps the machine going to new things.
And it's funny because the song is exactly about that. It's, Aldeas en el Aire means villages in the air. So it took me a while to understand what it meant, the song. But it's about how you have a dream. When you have a dream and then you try to explain it to someone, and it's very hard to explain a dream to someone else because only you were there. And it's a different dimension. It's a dimension where colors and flavors and things and time don't have the same norms as in this dimension. So it's like when you have a dream, you're trying to explain it to someone, it will probably make no sense to them, but you saw it. And it's your job to make it happen, to materialize it. If it was something good, you have to believe in it enough to know that you are capable of materializing it and bringing it from that dimension to this one so that people can see what you were talking about because they won't believe in it. And then the song talks about that, like, yeah, nobody believed, but it's at the end of the day, it's who didn't believe, them or you? The one who has to believe, the only person who has to believe is you. And then people believe you.
So you're launching when?
Tomorrow.
Are you nervous?
You know, I feel like I'm not, but deep down, I probably am. You know, yesterday I sent some wild text messages that I'm like, okay, that was a little bit drastic, you know? And then I was like, this is a symptom that maybe I am a little bit nervous about the song.
That's natural. It seems like it makes complete sense.
But I'm excited, you know? I'm excited, and I am in a way already accomplished, because for me it's a resolution. It's the graduation of a big chapter in my life. To put out my first original song has been a long process. It took me a year since we recorded it, let's say, in the big studio and with all the instruments until now. It has been a year. But it gets to a point where if you're happy with it, I was very like perfectionist with the quality of it until it sounded exactly how I liked. You would imagine the journey, like 7,000 mixes to get it to because I was like, yeah, no, the solo is not loud enough. I want people to cry when they hear it, you know? And now that it's finished and I'm happy with it, then people are very welcome to enjoy it. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and I'm happy to put it out there, and it's okay, whatever happens. About the song, I wanted to mention how it's a story of serendipity, because it all happened in Nosara and because of Nosara. So the crazy part is that I did the demo. It was 2 minutes long. I felt like I had already said what I wanted to say. I didn't want to fill the space with blah, blah, because the message was there. And then it was a little bit short, 2 minutes. And then I met in Selena. I met a girl, like a friend of mine in Switzerland, told me, hey, I have a violinist friend who's going to Nosara. It would be fun for you guys to meet. And then we met at Selena, and we clicked, and we became like very good friends. And I didn't know that she was the one that was going to create the solo of the song. So there's a guest artist. Her name is Helen Meyer, and she's from Switzerland. We became friends. I don't know how or when it happened, that it occurred to me. I was working in the logistics for music retreats. It happened that Helen was here staying in my house, and the producer and the engineer of the music retreats just told me, like, hey, it would be fun to record something with you. It wasn't my job at that time. I was just doing logistics, but I was like, oh my God, yeah, please. And then Helen was here, and I was like, well, you know, my song could use a violin solo. That would be fun. And then in 2 days, we rehearsed together. We went into the studio, we recorded, and then that solo is like my favorite part of the song. How it completed the space. Now the song is 3 minutes long, and it's crazy how you're like, yeah, that's why the song didn't need another verse, because I spoke to Ivan about it, like, should I make it longer? And it didn't need another verse because it was waiting for her solo. And then I would meet her like a year later. And I love, my favorite thing in Nosara is how this serendipity things come together. It's like a puzzle of just pieces that just eventually come together into something super fun and cool. And yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of that song.
Well, I wish you the best on the song release. And
Thank you.
congratulations. That's really cool.
Thank
I've
you so
enjoyed
much.
hearing your story and learning more. A couple Nosara questions for you.
Yeah.
What are your 3 favorite restaurants here?
I really like Blue Zones. I keep going there. And you have your favorites. Of course, tuna carpaccio in Howders is great. Coyol is fun for a fancy dinner. Yeah.
What would you want to see happen in Nosara? Like if you could snap your fingers and use your serendipity or serendipitous angle and ideas, what would you like to see happening here over the next 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 years?
Oh my God. To go back to how it was. Now I know I can say that. But to find a way to draw people here who actually care about the place. How I believe like that's how it used to be back in the day when it wasn't a cool, trendy, popular place. People who came here were people who really wanted to connect with nature, had a deep understanding of cycles of nature. They wanted to be in contact with the land, and they were receiving all of this that Nosara has to offer, and then they were interested in giving back, like people that have money, power, influences, any knowledge that could be useful. I feel like when it was more low-key, it was more like that. And then as it has become more popular, as it's becoming more popular, more people are coming here because of the trend and not because they care about the place. And they're just trying to see what they can snatch out of the place, how they can make money here, how they can buy property without caring about what is happening to the ocean. And I wish that we find a way to become again like a beacon for the right people who care about the place and who are not just interested in what they can take in terms of money. And they're interested in giving back, as you mentioned, how it's important to you to always make this place a better place. That's my wish, to find more people like that.
Seems like we're at the precipice, and this is my opinion. For me, it seems like we're at a point where we can become a model for the entire world, or we could turn into a standard beach surf town.
Mm-hmm.
It could go either way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm anxious to see how it turns out.
Yeah, me too.
I think I agree with your answer completely. If I could snap one wish into the place, it's not any one thing. It's because a lot of people are real quick to say, stop building or stop this or stop that. People are going to go to desirable places. That's not stopping. It's impossible. So I don't wish that. It doesn't do any good. Complaining about that and typing mean things online, it doesn't do any good. It actually causes more harm than good, in my opinion. What's so interesting about your angle is the thing that's always made the difference and made Nosara really special. It's the people. And the early people did fight like holy heck to make this place good. And people are fighting now to try to keep this place fantastic. But if the people tomorrow are the people like what you're saying, then maybe we're doomed. I also think the people coming in are the solution. So for right now, I moved here with nothing, like nothing. I had lost everything in the crash back in the States and got very comfortable living here with Nosara not being popular and not being what it is today. But now that it is what it is today, we need to find the good in that. So the good in that, in my opinion, is these folks do have money. They can donate to this, like Barriguiones and Costas Verdes, and the way they got the trees, the forests back to the sea, that took money, that took time and commitment. They still need it now. The Bomberos, every accident I've had, 911's never showed up. Mm-hmm. The Bomberos did, but that's privately funded. The Biblioteca, I don't know how familiar you are with Biblioteca David Kitson. the amount of good they've done for people and continue to at all different levels behind the trees, away from the tourist stuff. It's absolutely off the charts, but it's all privately funded. So if we can get this much good done without much money, imagine if we actually had the capital. Yeah. So instead of yelling about that new person coming in, which I have no control over, they're coming. They're already coming. Whether I live or die, people are coming. It's just how this goes. So I hope that we can steer into that. And it's like, hey, welcome to Nosara. Maybe I've been here longer than you. Instead of me complaining about that, get involved. Follow me over here. Choose any one of a number of platforms to get involved in, but just do something. Whatever you do, don't come here and do nothing. So that's my wish. My wish is that everyone who comes in town does something. I don't care. I'm not saying what you have to do. I'm just saying do something.
Agree.
I guess we'll see how it goes. Thank you for coming in. Is there any shout outs or anything you want to say while you have this platform? Sounds like you got a couple. From fashion, you got Ganja, then Patrick for your recording, Helen for the solo, Vanna for the initiative.
Yeah.
Seems like you have some pretty beautiful people in your life.
Oof. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed with these people. Yeah, that's true. It has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much. Yeah, just follow me on Instagram, and my Spotify link will be out tomorrow.
Thanks for coming in. It's a pleasure getting to know you and hearing your story.